my warmest greetings and salutations. Welcome, esteemed colleagues and aficionados, to the United Kingdom edition of the Dsgb Fantasy Football League Weekly Recap. I am your most humble host and commissioner, AST1. Prior to our embarkation upon this analytical journey through the world of fantasy football, permit me a moment to cordially invite you to express your allegiance to our scholarly congregation by pressing the subscribe button forthwith, and do follow should you find the contents of our discourse to your distinguished liking. Let us not dilly-dally in the peripheries of procrastination. Rather, let us delve post-haste into the crux of this week's recapitulation with fervent zeal and intellectual vigor. The gridiron beckons and the stage is set for a scrutinization most meticulous and enlightening. Cheerio, and may the musings be ever in your favor. We are a quarter way into the season, and there are teams and players around the league who aren't performing to the standard they have shown in the past. In terms of fantasy football, when you draft a player early, you expect them to perform at a high level. Early on in the 2023 season, we have players and teams not getting it done. Austin Ekeler, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Najee Harris, Jonathan Taylor, Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. These are the headliners that got drafted in most leagues in the first few rounds. 5 of the 8 are running backs, which doesn't help their case in negotiations for the running back market. Every year, we have paper champions before the season starts. However, when the games began to play, there are teams that rose to the top and some fell by the wayside, with summertime giving NY Giants his first loss of the season. Menace to the league takes over as the new number 1 team, currently through 4 weeks of play. His rival, the football team, is second in the standings and remains undefeated. NY Giants statistically has the most points and is currently in 3rd place. In the middle of the pack, we have Crimson Ballers, Dream Team Redemption, The Apocalypse, Hancock County, Georgia. We have Summertime and Z-Boys. They all have a 2-2 record. Rounding out the bottom of the league, we have Bristol Vikings, Team Harding, and Team Untouchables. Both Team Harding and Team Untouchables are still searching for their first win of the season. Moving right along, let's look at the top 5 performers from Week 4 in fantasy. Number 5, we have Michigan product, wide receiver Nico Collins. Collins had 7 catches for 168 yards and 2 touchdowns. Collins has cemented himself as CJ Stroud's go-to guy. Collins had 35.8 fantasy points on the day. Number 4, we have Maryland product, wide receiver Stefon Diggs. Diggs had 6 catches for 120 yards with a tally of 3 touchdowns in a blowout win against the Miami Dolphins. What an excellent performance by Diggs. Diggs had 36 fantasy points on the day. Number 3, we have Ole Miss product, wide receiver Arthur Juan Brown Sr. Brown was targeted 13 times, catching 9 for 175 yards and 2 touchdowns. I guess they patched up that conundrum on the sideline a couple weeks ago. Brown had 38.5 fantasy points. Number 2, we have Wyoming product, quarterback Joshua Patrick Allen. Allen is also teammates with Stefon Diggs. And boy did Josh Allen torch the Dolphins for 320 yards, completed 21 of 25 passes with, count them, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 bloody touchdowns. Amazing! Allen had his best game of the season. To make matters worse, he added 4 carries for 17 yards and 1 rushing tutty. Allen had 43.7 fantasy points on the day. And without further ado, we have the number 1 fantasy player of the week, Stanford product, running back Christian McCaffrey. Let's give this man a round of applause. McCaffrey is as close to a walking bucket as Michael Jeffrey Jordan is the GOAT in basketball. Sorry, LeBron. McCaffrey's stat line reads as follows: 20 carries for 106 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. He also caught 7 of 8 targets for an additional 71 receiving yards with 1 receiving touchdown. McCaffrey had a staggering 48.7 fantasy points on the day. Cheerio, and may the musings be ever in your favor to the Buffalo Bills fans. You had 2 players make the Week 4 top 5 fantasy football performers list. Moving right along, let's look ahead at the upcoming Week 5 matchups. First, we have the 2-2 Hancock County, Georgia against the 0-4 team Untouchables. Both league managers got the proverbial spanking last week from Menace to the League and Crimson Ballers. Both were the number 1 and number 2 high scorers of the week. Hancock County will look to snap a 2-game losing streak, while Team Untouchables will look to get his first win of the season. Next, we have the number 1 statistical team of the league, NY Giants, against the Bristol Vikings. NY Giants look to get back in the win column after getting his first loss of the season from summertime. On the other side, Bristol Vikings is looking to last longer in the win column than 1 week after a tough loss against Z-Boys. He will have an uphill battle against a loaded NY Giants. Next, we have Dream Team Redemption versus Summertime. In a battle between 2 teams with a 2-2 record, both teams are coming off impressive wins and look to extend their winning streaks respectively. Up next, we have Crimson Ballers against Z-Boys. Crimson Ballers not only is riding high from the weekly high score, but he has the highest score of the season with 186.7 in Week 4. He will look to ride this wave against Z-Boys, who put the hopes and dreams of Bristol Vikings away with a narrow victory. Z-Boys will look to quarterback Josh Allen and running back Derrick Henry to duplicate their performance from last week. Next, we have the undefeated reigning champion, the football team, versus the 2-2, the Apocalypse. The football team cruised to an easy victory over Team Harding last week, while the Apocalypse fell to Dream Team Redemption. The Apocalypse has a tall order to get back in the win column against the football team. And finally, we have the new number 1 team in the standings, Menace to the League versus Team Harding. Menace to the League went to London and annihilated Hancock County, Georgia, behind the 4-headed monsters that consisted of Alvin Kamara, Josh Jacobs, Seattle Seahawks defense, and the Golden Boy Christian McCaffrey. He will look to extend his winning streak against Team Harding. Who is riding the hot hand of rookie running back Devin Akane and rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson? He will need maximum effort from his team, particularly Jamar Chase, to have a chance in this one. Team Harding is also looking for his first win of the season. Should you find the substance of our discourse resonating with your intellectual proclivities, I would be most obliged if you could bestow upon us a gesture of affirmation by pressing the thumbs up icon. Pray do share your scholarly predictions in the commentary section below regarding the prospective victors of this week's matchups. Until our paths next converge in the hallowed halls of knowledge, this is AST1, bidding you a fond adieu and wishing you continued enlightenment in your pursuits.